I told you guys on the last show on Thursday that there was over 100 commitments in the month of April. Well, as the saying goes, April commitments bring more there is no saying on how this goes. But since we're getting close to decommitment season, I'm bringing back the game stick or flip. Let's bring on national recruiting analyst Sam Spiegelman. Sam, to get us in the mood before we play stick or flip, you broke some news this morning on the front page at on3.com. You got news on a pair of SEC commitments that are taking visits elsewhere. So let's start with Tennessee commitment, 4-star wide receiver J.J. Harrell.
Yeah, J.J. Harrell is one of the early pieces of Tennessee's top 10 recruiting class. He committed to the Vols over Alabama and LSU back in February, but he's still keeping his options open. He plans to take multiple official visits. Among the teams that have been in touch, Auburn and Hugh Freeze's new staff, Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have been heavily involved, as well as Alabama, a team that he was considering before he committed to Tennessee. Still, Nick Saban and Coach Holman Wiggins been by the high school a couple of times to see the on-300 wide receiver from Mississippi. Alabama also going to be in the mix with Harrell moving forward.
All right. You also had some breaking news this morning on Georgia 4-star safety commitment Peyton Woodyard. He's setting some official visits. What's he got on his slate?
Yeah, another, top 4 safety in the country, committed to Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs back in January at the All-American Bowl in San Antonio. Really kickstarted Georgia's #1 recruiting class. And he's been to Athens a bunch, and he's going to take his first OV to Georgia on June 2nd weekend. It's going to be a big recruiting weekend for Woodyard, trying to piece together the rest of Georgia's elite recruiting class. But he's also going to take trips up to Ohio State and Alabama in June. There's a little bit of optimism on the Ohio State side. Coach Eliano, Coach Knowles, and Coach Day all involved in the elite safeties recruitment, hoping to change his mind on that official visit. And then Alabama, he camped at Alabama as a 9th grader, landed an offer from Coach Saban. He was back at Alabama's spring practice for the first time in years. Nick Saban still remembered Peyton Woodyard. He remembered his whole family. He's going to take his official visit to Alabama at the end of June, another team worth monitoring for the longtime Georgia pledge.
All right. Now, let's play this game. It's called Stick or Flip. But before we do that, I need you guys to like this video and subscribe to the On3 YouTube page. We're building this thing. We want you to be a part of it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me right now. All right, the way the game is played, Sam, I think you've played this before, but I'm going to just describe it for fans. I'm going to throw out a name. Let's do an example here. Tennessee wide receiver commitment, J.J. Harrell. Now, this is where you say whether you think he's going to stick or he's going to flip. So, wide receiver J.J. Harrell.
I'm going to go with stick. I like Tennessee's stance, but keep an eye out for the hometown coach and Lane Kiffin getting involved with Ole Miss.
All right, one more practice. Let's go see if you got a hang of this. 4-star Georgia safety commitment, Peyton Woodyard.
I like where the dogs sit. I'm going to go with stick with Kirby Smart and the elite safety.
All right, now let's get into the game. All right, so all the names that I'm going to mention here, I'm not just pulling them out of a hat. All these players have either already taken visits while they're committed or they have official visits elsewhere already scheduled. So I'm not just pulling them out of a hat. So let's start here. Ohio State wide receiver commitment, Jeremiah Smith, 5-star. He is locked in an official visit to UF. Stick or flip?
I'm going to go with stick. I like what Brian Hartline has done for the length of Jeremiah Smith's recruitment, but DJ Lagway and the Florida Gators are making this interesting among the hometown teams. I still go with stick, though, with Jeremiah.
All right, Georgia linebacker commitment, DeMarcus Riddick. Now, he's from Alabama, but committed to the Dogs early. What do you got on him, stick or flip?
This is a tough one, and maybe I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to go flip. He's an Alabama native. Alabama and Auburn both heavily involved in his recruitment for this spring alone. Nick Saban, Hugh Freeze, both very much involved with the best player in Alabama. I like, obviously, where Georgia has put themselves, but they're going to have a load to work with there.
Okay, for a bonus point, you can tell me where you think he's going to flip to.
The default is always to Nick Saban and the Tide.
All right, there you got your +1. All right, Michigan State cornerback commit Jamari Howard. He's committed to Michigan State, but he's out of South Florida. Stick or flip?
I'm going to go flip again. Like you said, this is a great eval by Mel Tucker and the Spartans, but being in South Florida, 3 teams that have completely turned the corner at the way that they're recruiting, especially in the state. It's going to be hard to keep him away from Florida State, and Miami. I'm going to go with flip.
Georgia five-star cornerback Ellis Robinson. He has scheduled a couple official visits, one locked into Miami, but Bama and USC are also showing interest. Stick or flip?
I'm going to go stick. We talked about Georgia's number one recruiting class filled with elite players, the top number ones at their position. Kirby Smart has done a really great job of getting Ellis Robinson on board and on board quickly. I like Georgia's chances long term.
LSU linebacker commitment, four-star Xavier Atkins. He has 6 official visits scheduled, and he could be the first prospect to take double-digit official visits. Stick or flip, Xavier Atkins?
Yeah, I'm going to go flip here. This is 6 official visits, but here's what's important. Right now, he doesn't have an official visit set for LSU, and right now, Texas A&M is trending for one of his final official visits in December. A&M, Arkansas, TCU really working hard to flip the 4-star LSU commit, who's originally from Louisiana. I'm going to go flip here.
Gator running back commitment, Chauncey Bowens. Now, UGA kind of knocking at his door. Miami also involved, but what do you think? Stick or flip?
I'm going to go stick, but we have to know. We've pointed out on the Inside Scoop, Billy Napier, Jabbar Jalouk are recruiting running backs at a really elite level right now. They already have 2 commitments, including Bowens, but they're continuing to recruit well at the position. I go with stick, but this is an interesting storyline to follow.
All right, George. Ooh, okay, so this one, Ryan Puglisi hasn't taken any visits, and he doesn't have any scheduled, but I put him on here because I love the QB domino drama. So Georgia quarterback Ryan Puglisi, stick or flip?
I'm going to go stick. We know that Georgia right now is trending on the RPM with the number 1 quarterback in the country, Dylan Raiola. Kirby Smart love to take 2 quarterbacks this year with a new offensive coordinator in Mike Bobo. If, in fact, Dylan Raiola commits, it could open up things for Puglisi, but until further notice, you got to go with stick.
Okay. Alabama linebacker commitment, 4-star Sterling Dixon. He went to Auburn. He was flicking it up out there in Boulder, Colorado with a bunch of his friends on a visit. So what do you think here? Alabama linebacker, stick or flip?
Yeah, Sterling also made his way to Baton Rouge for a junior day this spring. So he's continued to see Auburn, Alabama, and LSU. And you mentioned Colorado. I'm going to go with stick. He was an early eval for Alabama, and he's one of the best in-state defenders. I like that he's going to go take a lot of visits and explore his options, but I like where Alabama sits long-term.
Okay. Texas A&M defensive lineman Dylan Evans locked in an official visit to UF. Corey Bender of Gators Online reported that over the weekend. So Dylan Evans, Texas A&M commitment, stick or flip?
Yeah, Florida made a really big move when he was able to get on campus earlier this spring. Texas A&M does a fantastic job of keeping the best defensive lineman in state. That is a trend since Jimbo Fisher got to Aggie land. I'm going to go stick.
All right. Let's go 4-star wide receiver Perry Thompson. He's committed to Alabama, but Auburn is an in-state threat. Stick or flip for Alabama wide receiver commitment?
Yeah, I think at one point Perry even put a percentage point on his commitment to Alabama. But I know that, being from the state of Alabama, he's returned to Tuscaloosa a number of times. I like where Alabama sits long term, even though this could go back and forth between the 2 in-state powers moving forward, especially with Hugh Freeze really making his presence felt at Auburn. I still go with stick until further notice.
Okay, 4-star now this is the last one. Oregon offensive tackle, 4-star Fox Crater. He took 6 visits this spring. Stick or flip?
This is definitely an interesting one because you have to keep in fact that he's an on-3 outlier, that Oregon and Dan Lanning made a fantastic eval of getting Fox on board early on, but he's taken a lot of visits, as you mentioned, 6. You have to go stick, but this is going to get testy. I mean, these are a lot of visits to keep track of. These are going to turn into official visits sooner rather than later. But he's from the Pacific Northwest, an early eval for Dan Lanning and the Ducks. I like where they sit long-term as well.
Oh, all right, Sam, you made it. Thank you for playing Stick or Flip. We're going to bring this game back periodically through the offseason to see where you stand on things. There was a lot of sticks. That's okay. I know it's early. I think as the game goes on, we'll see some more flips. Speaking of flips, when will we see the first wave of decommitments in the 2024 class?
Yeah, well, we've been talking about this a lot for this show, but it's summer official visit season coming up. These dates are being set, and you're starting to see the true contenders get these kids on campus. A lot of these kids are hoping to finalize or make their decision before their senior seasons, and in some cases these kids are committed, which opens up the door for some flips potentially, over the summer, and then again during the season as we get closer to the finish line in the early signing period.
Yeah, visits do breed decommitments anytime you can get it. No matter what these kids say, no matter how many times they say I'm locked in, if they're taking a visit to a school that they're not committed to, anything can happen. We'll see what happens this summer with official visits starting to heat up. Speaking of official visits, the last thing I want to ask you, Sam, is what do you think the impact of unlimited official visits will have on the number of decommitments that we see in this class?
Yeah, well, like you said, when you go on a visit and you're committed somewhere, you're doing that. You're taking that visit on purpose. You're exploring your options. You know, we talked about J.J. Harrell and Peyton Woodyard, two SEC commits that are going to continue to explore and exhaust all their visits and options in order to make sure that they feel comfortable when the time they sign. We also talked about Xavier Atkins being someone who could take double-digit official visits. Another 5-star in this class is David Stone, who's probably seen some of these schools out of state as many as any elite prospect has. But the fact that he's going to have the unlimited official visits to be sure of his decision, I think that kids are going to take advantage, but it does open up the door for more flips, more decommitments, and maybe even extended timelines to make sure that they can see every school enough times to be sure of it.
All right, Sam. Well, thanks for sticking to the inside scoop today. We appreciate your participation.
All right. Well, I got to flip out of here. So thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.